Hello. Today we're doing live comic book reviews all day long on Sunday the 15th of December. And in this live comic book review we're going to be looking at three comic books. Issue number 1978, The Phantom Marks of the Phantom. And this cover is done by Clayton Barton. We've got The Phantom, issue number 1979, The Phantom, the Seventh Icon. And finally, we have The Phantom, issue number 1980, The Mystery of the Marley Becks. A cover done by Antonio Lemos, and it just looks real good. So let's get into reviewing these three really cool comic books, and pardon me, and we're doing live comic book reviews all day long on Phantom Cave Reviews. We've got two more live comic book reviews coming up on the channel, so enjoy and let's get into reviewing these three Phantom comic books. It's going to be awesome. Let's do it. Okay, firstly, this comic book is a collaboration between Few Publications and Lightning Strike Comics in conjunction with Lightning Strike Comics, and this is really cool cover done by Clayton Barton. Really cool front and back cover. Some people getting skull marked. Really cool. So yeah, let's finally try and look at this. It's also in colour, would you believe? In full colour. Thank you. Thanks for coming. This story, this Marks of the Phantom story, first appeared in the Lightning Strikes Comics in issue number 2, and the cover for that comic was done by Jamie Johnson. Now this series lasted for 4 issues. I have one of them. And the series, well, what can you say about this series? The original series was done by Lightning Strikes Comics, obviously. But what can you say about this? Well, one thing you can say is that a lot of Phantom fans that bought the original comics from the original series, a lot of them didn't receive them. I was lucky enough. I didn't actually know about the series when I first bought issue number 4 from the series. I didn't actually know about it. I didn't know about this continuing series. I didn't know there was 3 more issues beforehand. But I ended up picking number 4 up at 2019 in Supernova Sydney, and I didn't even know about it. I did not even know a thing about Lightning Strikes Comics. I just picked it up because it looked different to what I'd seen before. It definitely was different. The story was, it was there, and it was good. But I didn't know all the back page and all the stories from the back page. It was good. The story, credits-wise, the story was wrote by Alred Awareness. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. And Mike Collins, with thanks to Canuckson. Art by Mike Collins, letters by Rob Jones, colours by Eli Wright, The Phantom created by Lee Falk, obviously. And this story, I think this story is like 60 pages long. Yeah, 44 pages long. And it's in full colour, which when I started reading it, I was a bit surprised. It felt like the story felt like it was a bit rushed. The artwork was cool in a way, but it also felt like a little bit rushed. And the story looks at how when you know that a native's artworks are being trafficked across to other countries just so that they can try and put them in an art gallery, traffic them across anywhere else they want to do them. And the Phantom, Mr. Walker, meets one of the people that is involved with that situation and this organization. He picks up with another guy that he ends up making association with, I think. And this lady, she looks nice on the outside, but inside, she's a nasty piece of work. And this other lady who is protesting that and knows the true story that these natives' artworks and these artifacts aren't where they aren't going where they're supposed to be going. They're supposed to be going into an art gallery where everyone can see them. But no, they're not going there. They're going into a big massive container. They're being trafficked all around the world for the person behind it all to make more money than she can see fit. And if she makes more money than she can see fit, then she's doing a very, very bad job. Because I'll take a line from an Indiana Jones movie. If you find something that's so significant to the human population, that significance should be in a museum. Every artifact that a person finds, that if it's so significant, so magnificent, so amazing, everyone should have the opportunity to look at it and take photos of it. What is it? It's doing a less of a greater good of someone having a private collection and having it all for their own when everyone else could be looking at it as well. It's doing you not so good on the museum side of things. It's like, say if I'm just going to put this out here. Say if the Mona Lisa ever gets sold. Say if the Mona Lisa ever gets bought by a person and gets put into a private collection. If that ever happens, you're never going to see the Mona Lisa again. You're only going to hear about it and see pictures of it. But if that was ever to happen, it's unlikely to ever happen. But if that was to ever happen, that'd be a disgrace. No one would be... it also brings out the belief that a lot of things, you can own it, but do you really own it? Do you really own it? You bought it. Is it yours? Maybe. Maybe not. I like this image just here. It's like Christmas around the corner, sleighing. But that's if you near snow. Not down in Australia, mate. You're not going to be anywhere near snow. There's some people with some funky looking native marks on, and they're going to be absolutely playing some games with the Phantom. And this is what I was saying about. This lady seems nice on the outside, seems nice, genuine. No, she's a nasty piece of work inside. The Phantom has a real struggle for life. Really needs to get itself going. And he ends up doing it, and everything goes back to how it should have been. Things that are meant to be seen by everyone, but aren't because they're in a private collection. A person that has a significant artifact, everyone should be able to see it, if it's so significant to history. Unless it's so historical relevant and no one really wants to see it and they want to just keep it in a shroud of mystery. People is conspiracy theories. I'm going to probably start a war with me saying something about conspiracy theories, which is all crap anyway. Anyways, the uranium for the UN. This is a original story, but it doesn't say who it was done by. because there's no credit for it. And this seems like it's come from either Brazil or it's come from the Italian Spadari type people. If you hear a dog in the background, it's barking. Really, really cool artwork. It's probably very, very taken off from Cy Barry. Good story too. I read this and it was pretty interesting. Phantom neck deep up in sand. It's got Diana in it too. It's pretty cool. And he ends up getting them. Ends up beating them. The Phantom story. The hostage. The hostage. It's a cool little article, cool little informational story. If you've been following me in my live streams on the replay, you'll know where to subscribe to the Phantom. $218 per year. They come out. The comics come out a day or two before the news agency receive them, and you can subscribe online, www.phantomcomic.com.au, and the choice is there. Phantom comics are the best thing in the world, and if you're a mad fanatic like I am, then you'll love your Phantom comics. Really, really cool cover and back cover. Front cover and back cover from Clayton. Really cool. Oh, yeah, he's got some good stuff. He actually created another cover that came out a few issues later than that, and it was for the Collector's Replica series, and that was pretty cool too. Okay, we've got The Phantom, issue number 1979, the 7th icon, and this is done by Tadam Gudam. Guya Tadam, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Tadam Guritz. Now this cover, something that I read real recently on one of the Phantom groups, is that this guy did this cover. It's an amazing cover, by the way. It's a great, amazing cover. But the thing is with this cover is that the original guy that did this, Tadam, hasn't even got his comic yet. Hasn't got his cover. Because normally, if you do a cover for a few publications, the few publications will then send you a self-copy of the cover that you've done and the book that you've got it published with, and they'll send it to you. But one thing that I was reading a little while ago, and it might still be up there, I'm pretty sure it would be, that the original cover artist hasn't got his book yet. So, what's happening? Not sure. I'm not sure how, if you do a cover for a publisher and then they don't end up sending you your book and the cover that's on the book, I'm not sure how that works with people in the industry, because obviously I don't have any experience with it. But I'm just saying that the guy who did this hasn't got his book. Hasn't got the book that features his cover on it, which is, if you're saying this, it's pretty slack, really. Not getting a cover that you've done. It's probably this book came out early to mid-September, and you haven't even received it yet. It's pretty slack, I reckon. But yeah, a lot of people are busy at the moment. But yeah, it still doesn't mean you can't really send it. Surely not. This story, The Seventh Icon, published, it was done by Klaus Murphy. Art was supplied by Legendary. I love these stories where it's absolute massive black shadows. And it was done by Kari Leppänen. He's an absolute legend. It was first published by Egmont Scandinavia, Phantoman, issue 9 from 2019. Just look at that. That is beautiful. His artworks are beautiful. The way he uses his blacks and whites they are amazing. They are absolutely fantastic. This cover, this story, it has stuff to do with cults. I'm going to say that it's supernatural, cults. I'm not sure why people... It makes good stories. It's a historical story. It's a cult story. A lot of Phantom stories have supernatural type eeriness happening in their stories. And it happens to have Rasputin, the historical linked figure. So figure this. Oh my god, he's dying right here, before my eyes. Grigory! Rasputin! Grigory! Can you hear me? Thank heaven. You're alive. I was sure you were dead. You would die. I did. There's nothing to joke about. You scared the life out of me. Keep quiet. An icon has been destroyed. Whoever did it will just try to destroy the 2 remaining icons as well, if I don't stop them. We end up seeing another character that we haven't seen in a while. She's in Morristown. She ends up finding an icon that is at a museum that is showcasing a very, very interesting artifact. People want it for themselves. They try and grab it. They're a little bit too late. Rasputin's onto them. He's coming. He's coming for that icon. He wants to try and live forever. And then the Phantom and the good old trusty character that we've seen before get together. They will talk. Rasputin is watching and says, just what I'm going to find out. I'm heading to Italy on the next flight. In the middle of the night, tomorrow, I'll land in Rome. Then I'll rent a car and drive south along the coast. With some luck, I should be on an island by the evening. Later that same evening, he boats to the island. The Phantom is trapped in a web. He's brought into a dungeon, and Rasputin is coming. He is there, he is invisible, and he cannot be defeated. He wants that icon. He wants it for himself. He doesn't want to be destroyed for all eternity. And the Phantom then says to Rasputin, he says, how could you get here before us? Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. We will meet again, and as enemies one day. I am sure of it. But I have taken care of one enemy tonight. That's enough bloodshed for now. I bring a small souvenir so you will remember how my enemies fare. Where did he go? He disappeared before our eyes. It's just a trick he plays with our minds. 2 days later, congratulations, I read that the expedition is a great success. Yes, and all the objects, it is the demon icon that interests people the most. The story you told about the 7 icons is incredibly fascinating, but do you really think it's true? Who knows? The sect definitely believed in it, and that was their downfall. And as for Rasputin, I think he's right. Our paths will meet again, and when that happens, I must be prepared for the very worst. And unfortunately, that path probably won't meet, because Klaus Rehmurthy passed away a few years ago, and he was the guy that was writing these stories. It would have been interesting though, to see more stories like that. They're very interesting, and it piques the curiosity of many people. Like, just have a look at this. Looks like people are watching, that Rasputin is watching them. Like, they are in shape like an eye. They are. It looks like he's watching them, seeing what they're saying about him and the sect. Maybe we might see more stories about it. Maybe not. Operation Domino, Shifting Sands, Chapter 3. And as I said in the last one, we changed artists from Daniel Picciotto to Fabio Alves. We're caught up with the Phantom. He's in amongst of some real tight spots. He's going to cross the sands. They get caught up by the people on camels. People on camels, Brad. The people on camels save the Phantom. The Phantom saves a kid of one of theirs, and they keep going on a camel. They are ambushed by people, and then the Phantom says, "Run." They end up not escaping their fate. And the guy says, "Goose to walks, I warned you what would happen if you ever returned to these lands." Thanks, Dad. And that was his father that happened to know what was going on there. Look for the next installment. Silent running. Silent nights. Oh, silent running. It's a Christmas day-o. Yeah, great cover. Really, really good cover. I reckon this would be in the top 10 best Phantom comics of 2024, which will be coming out in a few weeks' time. So, get set. The last comic in this live comic book review, The Phantom issue number 1980, The Mystery of Marley Bex. Nice cover and back cover by Antonio Lemos. Just look at that fire. I love that fire. Love how he does these covers. If you don't know yet, Brad's a big, massive Antonio Lemos fan. This story was done by Don Newton. It was first published in Charlton number 70, art by Don Newton. And just look at that greatness just there. Look at it. It's great. Unfortunately, Don Newton passed away He passed away not long after this series finished. The series was still going when he passed away, but then after that, the series finished because Don Newton had passed away, and that was their leading downfall. Was unfortunately Newton passed away, and he's an absolute great talent. He was a great artist. This story was wrote by Bill Parson. The art was provided by Don Newton that is, and it was edited by Geo Wildman. The Mystery of the Marley Bex. It follows two Phantoms, 1950, the 20th Phantom, and the 21st Phantom. It goes across history. And this ancient token that creates a lot of mystery. A lot of people are greedy because of it. The Phantom wants to try and find this icon. Other people want to find it, and it's leading to a lot of people going dead. A lot of jealousy, a lot of drama. And what ended up happening, the icon they ended up not being what it was. The icon ended up being a fake icon. And then a building starts to go up in flames, and the Phantom ends up saving a lot of people despite the awkwardness of getting across two big massive buildings. And at the end, they end up finding the real icon, and that icon ended up plundering into a very sinking sands. Something that always tends to happen is when something very, very ancient comes back into the world, a lot of people just want it. A lot of people just want it because they're greedy. Because they're greedy, they want nothing more than to have it at all costs. They don't care about what's going to cost them. They just want it. And they want it because they just need it. It's not because they need it, they want it. They have a lust to getting it. And that normally ends up being their downfall. Either that they end up doing all the research to try and find it, and then they end up not finding it, and then they end up getting... The downfall is that they end up taking 30 years, or maybe even 20 years, to try and find it. And they end up not trying to find it because they end up going crazy over it. Then we have Operation Domino. Is this chapter 3? Yeah, chapter 4 actually. It's Silent Running. It's a story by Duncan Munro, Fabio Alves, and edited by Glenn Ford. This story tended to get better as it went on. The art, however, looked more digital and more rushed than what Daniel Picciotto was doing in the first couple of chapters. But it did tend to get better. I actually tend to get more used to the art as it went along. It actually sort of suits the art actually sort of suits the time period for some reason. Maybe it's because the time period is based in the 1940s, Brad. Maybe. One thing I'd like to see with this story, I'd like to see a lot of these short stories, I'd like to see them put into some sort of trade paperback. Maybe it could be a whole heap of short stories made by Jason Paulos, all bunged into one book, all in one big book. So you don't have to go buying heaps of Phantom comics, and read each in single part. I reckon it would be a very, very good idea from a business point of view. I reckon it'd be a very, very good idea from a fan point of view. So you don't have to buy all these Phantom comics looking for each particular story. I reckon if you put it all in one big book, particular artists, all in one big book, in this sort of paper, in the paper that they usually publish trade paperbacks on, I reckon it would go pretty good. I'd like to see it. I think it would be awesome. Especially if it was like a graphic novel, all in short stories, all clumped in short stories, made into one big book. I reckon it'd be awesome. It'd make the viewing and the reading experience even better, I reckon. Plus Operation Domino Part 4. Okay, I hope you enjoyed looking at all these 3 Phantom comics. There will be more live streams, live comic book reviews happening on the channel. Straight after this one, we've got 2 more live comic book reviews coming your way on Phantom Cave Reviews. The only place you can watch the best Phantom content on the world, only on YouTube. So subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, keep Phantom Caving, stay safe, and comment down below what you thought of these live comic book reviews. We're doing live comic book reviews all day, Sunday the 15th of December, and as always, keep Phantom Caving, stay safe, and you'll see me next time on the YouTube channel. Bye!